Tonight to beat the Astros and tie the series. Game 5 is today at 4 Eastern here on FS1. Skip, what's your prediction?
I got another score right last night. Yankees 6-4. Sonny Gray of Vanderbilt was outstanding, at least for a while. I say tonight Tanaka will be equally dominating. I'm going Yankees 3-1.
I said we're going back to Houston.
You said it.
Up 3-2. And we keep talking about pitching, Skip, but they need to swing the bats. And that's what they've been able to do over the last 2 games. We're going back. We're going to beat Keuchel, and they're going to beat Verlander, and they're going into the World Series.
Wow.
That's what's going to happen.
Wow. Period. End of story.
End of
You
story.
heard it here first.
Yes, and I'm going to get my Yankees World Series jersey on.
Oh, you can just borrow it from LeBron, right?
Oh, good. Good.
I want to Aaron Judge.
He's very excited right now.
Yeah.
Check that out at 4 Eastern here on FS1. Let's move to the NFL. A group of players, owners, and Commissioner Roger Goodell met in New York yesterday to discuss various social issues. Colin Kaepernick was not at the meeting. His lawyer said Cap was invited by the players, but not by the NFL or any team executive. After the meeting yesterday, Goodell said players were not asked to commit to standing during the national anthem. That led to this tweet this morning from President Trump. The NFL has decided it will not force players to stand for the playing of our national anthem. Total disrespect for our great country. Shannon, did this meeting accomplish anything?
No. And second, can I address President Trump's tweet? You see, when you think like he thinks like authoritarian, it's all about force. You heard what he said, Skip. They didn't force. Shouldn't he be more concerned with health care? Shouldn't he be more concerned with tax reform? Shouldn't he be more concerned with North Korea? You would think, let the NFL, its owners, its players, let them come to some kind of agreement. They've done everything they possibly could to make sure you're not a part of the NFL because they don't want you monkeyed it up like you monkeyed up a lot of the other stuff. So they've done a lot to make sure you can't mess up their business by keeping you out. Focus on the agenda. Why people sent you to Washington, it was not to comment on the NFL. It was to take care of stuff that they felt was not being taken care of in America. Skip, back to the original question. No, because how can you have this meeting when this very meeting came to be because of one person, Skip? You and I both know. Colin Kaepernick taking a knee 14 months ago. And this company, you know, some of the players. Skip, if you're invited to a wedding, Skip's invited. I don't just get to show up because Skip invited me. You invited the NFL and the NFLPA. I'm not putting all this blame on the NFL. I'm putting some of this on the NFLPA. If you wanted Colin Kaepernick there, you could have extended him an invite because it's just like anything else. You show up to a party you're not invited to, people with, I ain't invited. Who you invited? I ain't invited. Now a whole lot of whispering going on.
He did just file a grievance against the
NFL
for collusion.
Right. So don't make it seem like, oh, he could have come. Offer him an invite. At the end of the day, Skip, what did they accomplish? Oh, we had great dialogue. As long as the problem that the players seems to be missing, the owners will never view them as partners. The owners' partners are Fox, CBS, NBC, ESPN, Nike. That's their Anheuser-Busch, Gatorade. Those are their partners. That's how they view them. They don't view you like that. Missing. The owners will never view them as partners. The owners' partners are Fox, CBS, NBC, ESPN, Nike. That's their Anheuser-Busch, Gatorade. Those are their partners. That's how they view them. They don't view you like that. So you're going in at a disadvantage to begin with. And see, and you hear, well, the owners, we want to hear what some of the problems, some of the social issues. Yeah. Forget the last 50 years. Let's just take the last 10 months. You need the players to tell you what some of their concerns are. I guarantee you the players don't need the owners to tell them what their concerns are. They were there for one reason, Skip. How can we get you to stand for the anthem? What they're trying to do is trying to buy their standing for the anthem. We'll give you a little money. Maybe we'll give you, $50,000 for some uniform for your little league team. Or maybe we'll invest this or invest that. They're trying to buy their stance. And players don't sell. Because they keep going all at some point in time when I come to Thanksgiving, Skip, look, I like dressing or stuffing, however you want to. I like sweet potato pumpkin pie. I like mashed potatoes. But if it's Thanksgiving, I want the turkey. I want the meat. So what is the meat? Colin Kaepernick took a reason for a very specific reason. And everybody keeps dancing around those issues. He took a knee for the police brutality against unarmed people of color and racial and social injustice. Two very specific reasons. NFL, can we please address those two specific reasons? You keep dancing, and you hear the commissioner and Doug Baldwin signed the bill about mandatory minimums, or about 3 strikes, or about the judge having discrepancies. Skip, this three strikes mandatory minimum, this goes back to the 80s when the crack epidemic was ruining the inner cities. And guys caught with small amounts of crack was getting 5, 10 years. Okay, but that's not, we've been trying to solve that. We got a very specific issue right now. Now, the governor of Wisconsin, he said the players should, take a stand against domestic violence. You do not get to determine what people protest. And that's what they're trying to do. They keep trying to change this narrative. Well, fight for domestic violence, or fight for this, fight for that. No, we're looking at this. And you see, the NFL is very reactionary, Skip, because we've said this for over a year now. I said, yeah, they don't have a problem with supporting breast cancer. And what do they do now, Skip? They prostate cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer, you got like 7 different colors now. Oh, really? They keep saying, well, we want to see what some of the social issues are, or what the players, what are their concerns. You watch TV. You watch it. Jerry, they said that 2 people walked up to Jerry Jones, and Jerry said he wanted to hear what they had to say. Jerry, you got guys in your locker room. You know damn well what those protesters were saying. You know why these guys are protesting. But you also want to skirt the issue. We just want to find out what the players, what are their concerns. You know what their concerns, because I bet you every player that was at that meeting, they know why they were there. How can we get you to stand? That's what they want to know. And what can we do? What's the least we can do? We'll throw you a little money at these charities or these foundations. But at the end of the day, Skip, it's all about how can we get you to stand and still do what we do.
I hear everything you just said. But my step back, and this is just my 2 cents from my distance, and it is a distance, at least the focus of that meeting in New York yesterday wasn't just about the anthem. It was about goals. It was eye on the bigger prize of the original issue that Colin Kaepernick expressed. Now, are they going to get anything done on it? I'm with you. But at least the conversation, the discussion was about how can we reform whatever we can reform in the justice system, in the police system. That's what all the conversation was about, led by Malcolm Jenkins. And I want to appreciate him publicly here, because he's trying to play a football season, and he's also trying to lead a crusade here against these owners.
He's been very outspoken. He's been very specific about what his intentions are.
I appreciate him.
Yes.
And he brings it with conviction and authority.
Yes.
So anyway, it's impressive. So at least Goodell, and you can scoff or laugh out loud at this or ridicule it, at least he co-signed with Doug Baldwin a letter to members of the Senate Judiciary Committee in support of the Sentencing Reform and Corrections Act. It's something, at least they're trying to go, again, you can laugh if you want. Now, that brings me to our president, who tweeted again early this morning, continuing his relentless attack on the protesting players of the National Football League. Now, I'm going to say it again. I think it's a brilliant strategy on his part, because he is playing right back to his constituency. He is preaching to his choir, right?
Correct.
Because he knows his choir might come back with him on this one. And I saw a poll that is carried by the New York Times that in September, only 25% of his supporters said that they view the NFL as somewhat or very unfavorably. And it has spiked in October. The latest poll shows that 60% of Trump supporters are now back on the anti-NFL bandwagon, that they view the NFL now as somewhat or very they view it unfavorably. Well, That's what he wants. So he's going to keep up the pressure. He's going to keep up the attack. And I feel for the NFL players because they're caught in a bind here. They're pushed into a corner. He continues to challenge them.
Don't even address him.
Yeah, okay.
Stick to that issue.
Okay, but what I'm saying is every time he tweets at them,
yes,
keeps up the relentless attack, they feel even more challenged to, okay, I'm going to kneel.
Right.
Well, every time you kneel, it's a vicious circle because it starts to feed or refeed his popularity.
Right.
So it's a great cause on his part to attack your cause. Do you see what I mean?
I do, but Skip, I see what he's doing. Because guess what? Robert Mueller interviewed Sean Spicer. They just subpoenaed Carter Page. See, this thing is heating up. So if I keep this heat off me, because you remember on Friday he said he was going to do away with the subsidies that the insurance companies get for underprivileged people in health care. So now he's backtracked.
Just remember, he needs to keep this controversy alive because it's helping rebuild some of his popularity. Am I right?
Of course.
Okay. So it was interesting to me that, once again, we heard last night in the late game on TNT that the Golden State players, according to David Aldridge, their reporter on TNT, or basically from Steph Curry, that they feel like it would be counterproductive to kneel. They don't want to feed into this.
Right.
And what was Steph's point? Because we feel like we've had a great platform to speak out already.
Yes.
Greg Popovich has been as outspoken as you can
Yes.
be against the president of the United States.
Yes.
Steve Kerr's been pretty outspoken himself. Steph's had a whole lot to say. LeBron's
KD
tweeted a whole lot. KD has had a whole lot to say. So they're saying, hey, we've had a voice here, a strong, unedited voice, right?
Yes.
Uncensored.
You know, Skip, for me, and I don't have a problem with Steph, what Steph said or how they're going about it, because if you remember in '68, John Carlos and Tommy Smith, they raised their fist. Muhammad Ali said, hell no, I ain't going.
He did.
So there are different forms of protest, but we're trying to get to the same point. And that's what I want these players to understand. They keep talking about, the owners keep talking about, the social issues. We want to find out what the concerns are of our players. But I bet you every player knew why the owners had them there.
Okay, but I think the NBA players know that kneeling would help the president.
Yes.
Like it takes the eye off the prize.
Right.
You know, everybody loses sight of, oh, you hate America, you hate our flag, you hate our military. No, we're just trying to get your attention.
We're trying to get your attention, and still, they keep talking about these social issues. They're very specific. Colin Kaepernick laid them out when they asked why he did it, and this has been and you got to stay focused. You know, now I don't even worry about President Trump because I already know he's trying to distract. This thing with Mr. Mueller, the special counsel, because it's in the White House. He's interviewing people that spent time in the White House. So it's getting close, and he's trying to distract. His health care, repeal and replace. He's been talking about what a failure it is, and he's trying to undermine Skip. He wants to do away with the subsidies. If the people can't afford to buy insurance, they're going to die. And to prove his point or to further his agenda, he's willing to undermine Skip. He wants to do away with the subsidies. If the people can't afford to buy insurance, they're going to die. And to prove his point or to further his agenda, he's willing to let people die. North Korea is like, no, we're not giving up our weapons because we saw what happened to Gaddafi, who gave up his weapons. We saw what happened to Saddam Hussein, no, I'm not giving up mine because we already know because whatever, and he's see, this president believes that if he undoes everything President Obama done, that's not being a president, Skip. Undoing something don't mean you're a president. So let's just, NFL players, don't even worry about him. The focus is the police brutality on unarmed people of color.
Okay, so should they continue to kneel? Because I feel like they get re-challenged by the president of the United States week to week to kneel.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. You weren't kneeling because of the president to begin with.
No.
So it shouldn't make you want to kneel anymore now. What should make you want to kneel is that you haven't seen the lawmakers and the NFL owners acknowledge the very issues. Don't worry about kneeling because of President Trump.
At least in New York at this meeting yesterday, they didn't completely cave into the president. It wasn't like an edict was rendered to the players where, I'm sorry, you have to stand.
Let me ask you a question, Skip. Let's just say this. If the players were saying, okay, this is what we want to have heard, and we're standing. If the players were still standing but still speaking out, would they have been invited to this meeting with the owners? If they were standing but still protesting in a different way for the anthem, would they have been invited to this meeting? You and I both know the answer to that, Skip. Hell no.
I'm not sure, but you're probably right.
Because at the end of the day, the owners want those guys to stand. And what?
Well, sure they do.
How much is it going to cost?
They're fearing that the bottom line's getting attacked now, that they're going to lose.
How much? Because we heard that Miss Ford said, guys, if you stand for the national anthem, I do.
That was outrageous. That was. Yeah.
That's what the NFL is trying to do. NFL is not saying it, but that's what they're trying to do. How much will it cost us to get you to stand, guys?
Well, hopefully the owners realize that the kneeling did not start because of President Trump, and President Trump is only politicizing this protest. But to your point about the NBA and them feeling empowered, if the NFL owners and Roger Goodell had taken the approach that the NBA owners and Adam Silver had taken from the beginning, encouraging players to be individuals and have personality and speak out on social causes
from the start,
and back them up. It started with Donald Sterling, and back them up to the very core. Even against the owners when it comes down to it.
But when the controversy broke, then Adam Silver just said, we will stand. And everybody said, okay.
But that's because the players have a relationship with Adam Silver and the owners that is completely different from the NFL. Yeah. So that's really on them.
I believe the NBA and their players, they view themselves as partners. They really do view themselves as partners.
But that's not an accident, though.
No.
There's been an exchange. There's been evidence.
Yes.
The NFL players have no reason to believe that they're going to be backed up in this situation.
No, absolutely not.
That's why we're here. Next up, Carson.